Hi guys, today we're going to talk about the loop on the serve. I promise you guys I will go over this and I really want to break it down on how the loop works on the serve because there seems to be a lot of confusion, especially for beginners or intermediate players who are not quite doing the loop properly and just kind of doing this kind of serve or just stopping here and going. We really want to get this loop fluidly. This was going to give us the momentum and the power. We're really going to struggle to do anything else, to pronate, to slice, if we're not doing our loop properly. So let's get into it. So the first thing that we want to do, I recommend you starting on a trophy position already with the racket up with the abbreviated motion, just so we go over the loop. From this motion will be much easier to start out, and then once you get the motion, then you can do the full thing. So we're going to start from here. Make sure that your elbow is not too low and it's not up high. It needs to be just around this area. It could be straight here, a little bit lower. Around this area is good. Again, what we want to avoid is for it to be too low here, because that is going to cause us to be late on the contact, and then too high is not really going to give us the power that we're trying to get from that position. So we're starting out in a trophy position. The first thing that I want to talk about is that when we start going back on the loop, guys, it's important that we don't move the elbow up as we go back. Okay, so we don't want to move this all the way until here. My elbow is not moving. Okay, so I'm here and this is not moving. When does it start moving? When my racket starts to get around this area, around this position right here, and I'm starting to go up on the ball, that's when my elbow starts to move. So I'm going down, 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 and right now as I'm gonna go up is that my elbow starts moving. So as it's going down, it's still, and then the moment that I am really just starting to accelerate to get up there, that's when my elbow starts to move. Notice what is happening here. It's not moving, and then this is what the elbow does. So what does that look like to you? I'm sure that you already noticed that it looks the same as if I was throwing a ball. So I'm here, and then of course to get the power, this is what happens. It's sort of like a lag that happens, same thing that would happen on the strokes. This happens naturally, and it's sort of like a lag, right? That this elbow is going here to get that power, and then lagging the ball behind this way, and that's how we're able to throw and get the power from the throw. Again, I am not an expert on baseball, but this is how it works for the loop on the trophy position. It will be the same. So as I'm going down, and then the moment that I start to go up on the ball, start to accelerate up, then that's when this elbow starts to go up on the ball. So that's how the mechanics works for that part of the loop. Now, there are so many mistakes that can happen in between those things. One of them is that I see a lot of you're here, you're not moving the elbow, but then you're stopping the racket right here by your hair, by the back of your head. You're stopping it right here, and then you're continuing. So you're losing all the momentum. So it kind of looks like this, right? So you're here, stopping and going. Okay, so as you're tossing, you're doing this at the same time. Okay, we don't want to do this at the same time. We want to toss first, and then that way we can do this in one motion. We need to do this whole motion in one motion without stopping. So we don't want to toss and then stop and then go. So we want to go toss first, and that's when it would happen. Very, very important that you guys don't stop the racket here. That is one of the really, really common mistakes that I see. And that is why if you're trying the continental grip and you're trying to do your loop properly, that is probably why you're really struggling. If you're stopping the racket, you're not getting that momentum, because look what happens if my racket is closed here. And then I stop right here and I try to go, the ball is literally not gonna go anywhere, guys, nowhere, because with my continental grip, my racket is naturally closed, and I'm gonna get the power by doing this loop motion. I'm not gonna get it by touching it. If I had a wrong grip, I can get away with stopping here and touching it up and making it in the court. But that is not going to help you progress far, because you're gonna maybe make the shots in the court, but you're never gonna be able to hit it strong, accelerate, hit slice, kick, everything, flat, pronate, everything that you need to do in the serve. You're not gonna be able to do it if you have the wrong grip. So continental is the way, but you gotta make sure that you don't stop that loop. And then once your racket is closed back here, because it needs to be closed, guys, that is key. That is the other mistake that happens a lot. Even if you're having the right grip and you're still getting this right here, notice what happens when I try to do the loop, but I'm twisting my wrist up like this. It doesn't really look like a loop anymore. I can't really do it. It needs to look like this for it to be an actual loop that goes in and out, because it needs to go in and out, in and out. So if it looks like this, it's gonna be really difficult that I do the loops. So you need to make sure that those strings are straight, okay, right here in this position. The other mistake is that sometimes, because we're trying to close those strings, then we overclose them and we twist the wrist like this. This is also gonna hurt you a ton. We don't want to do this ever. That's gonna hurt you. Actually, it's gonna cause injuries on your wrist. You wanna have it straight, right here in this position, straight. You don't wanna twist the wrist like this. Look what's happening with my wrist when I do that. And then this is what happens when I'm opening it. So I always say to my students, the knuckles right here need to stay firm. If I have my continental grip, my knuckles should stay firm as I go back. They shouldn't go in like this, and they shouldn't go up. They should stay straight. So my wrist is neutral right here. Okay, I'm gonna pronate my wrist when I go up here, but the wrist is really neutral when I'm going back. Okay, so that is really important, because I see a lot of this stuff happening. Now the last mistake that I am going to talk about is, so we're in this position, it looks like we're doing the loop right, but you guys are getting this racket so close to your head. And I know a lot of the times you probably have people say, like, go down like you were gonna brush the back of your head. That is good, but you actually don't want to be that close to your head. You don't want to be touching it, and you don't want to be that close, because what happens is that it's unnatural here to be in this position. You actually want to be more around this position. So that is not that close to my head. I want to have this space here. I don't want to be here. Look what's happening to my wrist when I do that. I'm having to force it. Okay, so I wanted to drop really naturally in this path right here. Trying to find different angles that you guys can see right here. Okay, this is how I'm dropping. I'm not dropping like this, because that is really unnatural. So what I see is a really forced loop going this way. The racket should never come this way. The racket goes down that way in the loop. It doesn't come here. Okay, so that is really important, that you drop this way with enough space from your head, and then that's when you're gonna come up. That is really key, because then you're gonna really struggle to come up. It's not gonna be a natural loop. So what I recommend you guys doing is practice throwing. Watch yourself when you throw, and just grab the ball here and check that motion that you're doing as you're throwing. Throw the ball a few times, throw it over the net. It should be pretty easy for you to throw the ball over the net. That way you know you're getting decent power on your throw and your loop is looking good. And then what you can do is pretend with your racket that you're going to throw the racket. Pretend, don't throw it please. And we're going to sort of pretend that we're going to throw that racket on that side. And that really relax. That is exactly how the loop should look. Okay, that is exactly how it should go. We're not forcing a loop here. We're not closing the racket. It's super relaxed. Of course, with my continental grip, super relaxed. And I'm like throwing the racket to that side. Throw the racket. You guys, from back here, so we would be in our trophy position. We're dropping this way. And then as we're going up, then we're using the elbow going up on the ball. Take a look here. Nice and relaxed. Okay, I'm not really forcing that loop. The wrist is pretty neutral, but everything is moving relaxed, like if I were to throw a ball. So when I throw a ball, I'm not grabbing it super tight, right? Because then it will go nowhere. And I'm not really stopping the motion anywhere. I'm trying to get it relaxed so it gets out of my hand pretty quickly. Okay, so one more time. Okay guys, so that is what we want to work on for the loop. It is not easy, especially if you're a beginner and you've never done it before. You're an intermediate player just that has been serving a certain way for a long time. It's not easy to do. I definitely recommend that you have it looked at, that somebody can tell you what you're doing wrong. Try to apply some of these tips that I'm giving you, but if you're still struggling, let me know. On our coaching app, you guys can send me a video, and that way I can look at it, I can analyze it, and tell you exactly what's going on with the serve and why you're struggling with the loop, and then can point you on the right direction and definitely help you fix it faster. So that is really important. I hope this information is useful, guys. Make sure to please like this video and subscribe so I can keep making videos like this. And don't forget to check out our coaching app and the description below, and also for all the products and discounts that we have below. Thank you guys.